Rod, if you're free, I have an extra ticket to the Warriors and Oil Kings game in Moose Jaw tonight, if you want to join me. I would love to, but I can't. To quote Sammy Seafood Sam, I'm busy.
How about that?
Where's Seafood Sam? Moved to Calgary. He's busy.
Yeah.
But thank you, Glenn.
Muna.
Big shots.
Sitting up there with the Russian national coach at the press conference.
Guy ran a seafood restaurant in Saskatoon, okay? His name was Seafood Sam. That was the name of the restaurant, and the Saskatoon Blades would bring him down to coach the All-Star or the intra-squad game, and he'd start brawls. And
I remember hearing the story about Daryl Lubanicki. They told the guys, no more fights. And so all of a sudden there's a fight, and then they drop the puck, and then there's another fight, and there's another.
He's coaching the intra-squad
One
game.
kid had fought 3 times, so Daryl Lubanicki said, I'm going to put an end to this. And he walks around the rink, and he comes over to the kid who's had 3 fights, and he says, what is going on around here? And the kid says, that Chinese guy keeps sending me out to beat out of that. So he had to go to this Seafood Sam, who was this little 5'2" Chinese fellow who owned their local restaurant.
Seafood Sam's.
And tell him to knock it off.
No more fights.
How about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I'll tell you what, if you want to annoy him, you came to the right place. Oh, yeah, we got you covered. Welcome to a Football Friday, everybody, here on the RP Show. We're excited to be coming at you on Game Plus TV and live streaming. Almost all football, but we're going to have a little hockey to open things up here. Jim Barker coming up in hour 2 from the CFL on TSN. We're going to Winnipeg right now, and we are pleased to be joined by the sports doctor, Dave Petrishen. And hey, stop. Vikings season ticket holder, Bomber season ticket holder. You told me moments ago, Dave, before we went to air, before the power went off in your building there, that you went for breakfast with Andrew Hustler Patterson of Winnipeg Sports Talk the other day. Where did you go? Tell me. I'm dying to know.
We went to the Winnipeg's iconic restaurant, Salisbury House. We both were at the game last night, the Seattle Kraken and the Winnipeg Jets. And we have a big storm happening here in Winnipeg. And he was freaking because he's driving to Kansas City for tomorrow's game, playoff game, and he got behind the wheel after the Jets game last night and started to drive through because they're closing some highways around here. So he probably made the wise decision. He was planning on leaving after he did Winnipeg Sports Talk, which probably got him off the air about 3:00 Central. And they would have drove straight through, but they decided to go a little bit. So Hustler will be at Arrowhead or whatever they call it now.
That guy is, he's a nut, but I see why they love him in Winnipeg because he's legit. But so are you, Dave. And I guess, you know what, we're going to get into a lot of football talk, but do you guys want to hit the Quick Six show horn, please, back at the IKS studio? The Millennium Falcon, we can't stop. It is a Canadian show. Dave just said there's a blizzard rolling through. It's hockey weather up there, and it was a really big night in the NHL. So our very first point, the big story is this. The game that's like popping out was in Denver. Evan Bouchard scored with 6:55 to go, and the surging Edmonton Oilers overcame a 3-goal deficit to beat Colorado 4-3. Everybody's talking about that. But as far as Canadian teams, Alex Newhook's deflection broke a tie midway through the third. An unbeaten rookie goalie Jacob Dobes made 32 saves as Montreal down Dallas 3-1. In St. Louis, Braden Shen scored twice, and the Blues beat Calgary 4-1 to sweep a two-game set. In Toronto, Wee Willie Nylander scored his second goal of the game at 1:10 of overtime to give Toronto a 4-3 victory over the Devils. In Ottawa, Alex Ovechkin scored with 1:53 to go in overtime to give Washington a victory over Ottawa, and Ovi's goal was the 874th of his career, so he's 20 behind Wayne's record. And in Vancouver, the slump continues for the Canucks. They fell 5-1 to the visiting LA Kings. Vancouver's lost 6 of 7, and the game David was at, the sports doctor, Dylan DeMello, scored with 27 seconds to go to give Winnipeg a 2-1 victory over Seattle. I was at the game in Sunrise last night. Todd McClellan's Detroit Red Wings had their way with the Florida Panthers, beat them 5-2 here. So it was a very big night. And Dave, you told me that you left Canada Life Center as soon as DeMello scored that winner. Was that the thing? You stood up and put your coat on and left? What was the deal?
Well, I actually, that's what I did. But, truth be known, when you make your way down, can watch the last few seconds in the foyer. So I didn't technically leave early, but I just got up because, at something like that, a couple of minutes to go, if they would have went 2-1, hey, Seattle could have came back and put the game to overtime. And anytime there's overtime, you need to be in the building. That's the most exciting 5 minutes in NHL hockey is overtime when it's 3-on-3. But Dylan DeMello's goal, game-winning goal, came in his 600th career National Hockey League game. So that was kind of a big milestone for DeMello.
You know what? And while we're sitting here having fun, because I think this is fun, we're all about having fun here, as you know. That's why you and I are friends. Tell the folks about your cool pregame experience there, if you don't mind. Well, you don't mind. You put it on your Facebook. That's where I saw of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if the United States is a Grubhub, but the Canadian version is Skip the Dishes. We're a vast Canadian audience, so Skip the Dishes. Who when I wear another hat, I use that service in some of the restaurants that I run, and they gave us 4 tickets to the I think it was called Penalty Box Plus Experience. What that was we showed up 45 minutes prior to game time. They escorted us down, put little booties on our feet so we wouldn't get the penalty box area dirty. And I watched Seattle and the Winnipeg Jets warm up from the penalty box. So basically nose to the glass. So it was pretty exciting. And, we've talked about teams and it's been discussed for a lot over the entire season and part of last season too, about the Winnipeg Jets trying to make the fan experience a little bit better. But obviously, Skip the Dishes is a sponsor of the Winnipeg Jets, as they are of a couple of other NHL teams. And that game day experience was just still kind of buzzing about it. It's just so neat. And the one thing that you don't realize when you're sitting ice level, just like I was, and how big the players in the National Hockey League are now.
Oh my God,
these guys are monsters.
They're monsters. Well, so by the way, I've never once used, well, not in America. I've used Skip the Dishes in Canada. I have. I guess we could say it. I told you the joke before. I got to attribute this to Danny Hooper. He's a comedian in Alberta. He says there's a dating app for seniors in Alberta. Yeah, it's called Skip the Bitches. Not my joke. Not my joke. Down here, it's like DoorDash, but I've never used it in the States because I'm not lazy. But tonight, we might, because we're going to Chicago, and Serena, you've met her, my beautiful better half, has it all planned out. We're going to land in Chicago like 8:30, and she's going to order pizza from this special place. I think it's Gino's East in Chicago. It'll arrive in time to meet us at the hotel if all goes according to plan. So that's what she's got planned tonight. So that's what we will be doing. Okay, so that's the hockey talk. We did it.
You're going to see a game.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, wait. What game are you seeing in Chicago? We didn't talk about that.
We're seeing Carolina at the Blackhawks Saturday and the Vegas Golden Knights there Monday. So that's pretty awesome.
Exciting.
That's going to be fun. Yeah, I got some friends in town for that too. So more than anything, going to see Carter Bedard and our good friends Mike and Joanne Lee are behind us, sitting in the alumni suite for the Blackhawks. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so we got the hockey talk out of the way. Now, I said to everybody, maybe they weren't paying attention or they weren't settled yet. Dave is a Viking season ticket holder. I've been saving this one for you. Point 2. Sam Darnold's shaky finish shouldn't ruin his impressive season or impact his future in Minnesota. Several NFL teams need a franchise quarterback, and Darnold proved he can be that guy for the Vikings, becoming the first quarterback to record 14 wins in his first season with the team. He's set to become a sought-after free agent unless the Vikings place a franchise tag on him. Despite his struggles in Minnesota's final 2 games, including that loss Monday night in the wild card, 27-9 to the Rams, Darnold should have plenty of options in March if he hits the open market. So what do you think your Vikings should do at the QB position for 2025?
When you get 14 wins and you have such a great regular season, I don't care. The regular season didn't end well against Detroit, and of course the playoff game was just a dud. But you can't. It's not all on Sam Darnold. I mean, there was some times against the Detroit game, the last regular season game, he probably was a little bit nervous and probably was letting go of the ball and overthrowing a couple of guys. But in the LA Rams game on Monday night, the guy was running for his life. I never seen an O-line basically his kind of stand out of the way. The guy was running for his life. How many times did the Rams sack him? You can't. It's the quarterback gets all the praise when you win, and he gets all the blame when you lose. And I do not think that the Rams loss is all on Sam Darnold. And I think he should be back.
What? You know what? The quarterbacks will tell you that. They know that. They're raised knowing that. You're going to get all the blame. You're going to get all the praise. Goalies are taught the same thing. I was taught that by my dad. So they know that it comes with the territory. So does the large paycheck in Minnesota. So you're saying bring back Darnold, but you also have Daniel Jones there, and, of course, J.J. McCarthy's getting healthy. Is there room for all of them?
I think there is. I think there really is. I mean, the McCarthy is the unknown, and Jones, I don't know. I mean, Jones could come off the bench and have a Sam Darnold kind of year in Minnesota. He could if he was the starter too, because obviously they got some sort of formula that turned Sam Darnold into the player that everybody thought that he would be when he was drafted. So the formula's there, but the unknown is McCarthy, because you don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of first round draft picks that become busts. So you have to see, and you already come back and you're already injured, right, from training camp and preseason. So I would do it because I love seeing wins. I love going to US Bank Stadium. I love watching Vikings games. I love listening to PA Paul Allen, and I want Darnold back.
By the way, BW in Edmonton says, "What is the season ticket price in Canadian funds, Doc? If you don't mind sharing."
Ooh, I don't think I've done the calculation in Canadian funds, but I'm when I first there, you had to buy the season license. The I can't remember what they call it, PSL or something, personal season license, and that was when I first got in. It was $1,250 a ticket, so I had to pay $2,500 right up front, and I believe my 2 tickets set me back, and I want to say $2,100 US. But for a pair, for the high level games, it's about $254 for the pair. That's what the ticket price is. So I'm in a loge kind of thing. I'm in section 301, but section 301 goes up to the sky, but mine actually goes. So I'm in row C. So I got a pretty good ticket. So it's more. Now it is for a long time. My ticket was about the same price as my Canadian Football League ticket for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but now it's kind of exceeded that a bit. But I tell you what, and you know this too, Rod, there's nothing better than watching an NFL football game at a high level with 2 good teams in a full stadium.
It's interesting what you just said. You love whatever that is, the hype, the Paul Allen, the radio guy. You love it all. And the NFL is fun to talk about. And a sideline of that, and by the way, everybody, we're going to get to the games in the next segment for the weekend, Doc and I, plus the CFL schedule release. So hang on, because he's a Bomber fan too. But how do you feel about the Tom Brady thing? Like, it's now, I don't know how it's hit the front burner, but now like Sports Business Journal and Wall Street Journal are on Tom Brady's ass, and that NBC or Fox should explain itself, how they allow this guy to go on the air as a color guy yet be an owner. And how's the NFL allowing this to happen? And while I see it as a conflict of interest, I saw it before anybody else was talking about it, but also didn't care because it's Tom Brady. Have you heard this, A, that Tom's under fire and Fox as well, and the Raiders and the NFL for allowing him to be an owner and a broadcaster, that it's a direct conflict of interest? We can all see that. I don't care. I don't, because I'm a Tom Brady fan. But do you have thoughts on that?
I agree. I agree with you. If he was like if he was Jerry Jones and he was the sole owner of the team, there'd be a huge conflict of interest. But what is he? 10%? What does his vote even count for this decision making? I see it more of as an investment and staying close to football. Hey, they probably the Raiders wanted a little influx of cash. Brady has some cash, played pretty good, had a pretty good career, won a couple Super Bowls, so he had some cash. But I don't see it as a conflict. It's Troy Aikman has the Dallas Cowboys stars tattooed on his chest, just like you're wearing today. And I mean, he's got no skin in the game in terms financially, but that he's pulling for the Cowboys every single time. Same with Tony Romo. It's evident where their loyalties lie because of their careers. But Brady, he's such a lightning rod. He's great to listen to. He's like when Tony Romo first started. It's so refreshing to hear somebody with that has actually been in the huddle. Aikman is the same way. He's great at his craft. He's great. The first game, a little tough, stepping over his broadcast partner a little bit. But that timing came in third or fourth game. He's fantastic. So I don't get the
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as a kid growing up in Winnipeg, you hated Wayne Gretzky. You hated him because he played for the Edmonton Oilers. But as you grow into an adult, you start appreciating Wayne Gretzky. And you want Wayne Gretzky to be successful wherever he goes. Tom Brady, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, when he's with New England, arrogant team, Bill Belichick, you hated him. And then near the end, 5 Super Bowls, goes to Tampa, 6 Super Bowls, goes to Tampa Bay, 7 Super Bowls. I wanted the guy to keep playing. I wanted 8 Super Bowls, 9 Super Bowls, 10 Super Bowls. You wanted to do that.
So did I.
And that's the thing. He just grew into the legend. And I'm a fanboy.
I think that's why you and I are friends, and because we see things the same way. We want the best for people. From the audience, Late Night with Smitty writing in from Steinbach, Manitoba. He says, Tom Brady can do whatever he wants. That's what I think. Clearly, the NFL feels the same way. BW in Edmonton writes in. He says, the NFL is still cheaper than NHL tickets. #milestone math. Yeah. Carlos in Indianapolis says, and then there are the commentators and pundits who like every team but yours. LOL. Oh, yeah. He's biased, but right? Trust me, I get that. I feel like the owners are sitting back because they're listen, they're not idiots. They're not. Clearly, they're billionaires. I think they're going, what's best for the NFL? Right now, having Tom Brady involved at the ownership level and as a broadcaster is what's best for the NFL because people love Tom Brady. That's what I think they're thinking. But these guys, they also aren't visionary thinkers, and they haven't thought what happens once Tom Brady turns this team into a winner, because eventually he will. You say he's only got 10%, which he does. Do the math, Dave. They're worth $6 billion. 10% of that is $600 million is what Tom's stake is worth. And I can guarantee you he's got more than 10% of say at the table if the owner, Mark Davis, the majority owner, has any brain at all in his head. He'd be letting Tom make the key decisions there, right? So that's what goes on behind the scenes that people don't understand with sports teams. And just because you got 10% doesn't mean you only got 10% say, okay? Not with the successful teams. We'll come back and get to the picks, CFL schedule, everything else. Jim Barker on the way in hour 2. We're live on a Football Friday on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Not like it hasn't already been fun, but it's going to get even more fun if we can bring the sports doctor back on, Dave Petrishen, on this Football Friday. Moose is away calling curling Saskatchewan provincial men's and women's curling championships. So Moose is back in the rectangle for that. Yesterday, David, I know you were watching. If you remember the theme, it was, who was your first ever crush? And that's what we were talking about. And I said mine was Lonnie Anderson. Say no more. As I opened the text line here, okay, Dave, a lot of people have responded. Why are you looking so puzzled? 902-518-3033 is the number to text here. 902-518-3033. What was your first crush? I'll carry it over to today. Think about yours, Dave. Here's what they're saying in the comments. Jim Young, the Hall of Fame BC Lions receiver, watches every day from Armstrong, BC. He says, from Jim Young, Sophia Loren, from his wife, Carrie, Captain Kirk. Her first crush was William Shatner, Star Trek. Chad in Lethbridge, BC says, Pam Anderson. Laverne in Swift Current says, Bo Derek. That's a woman, guys, for the young folks that don't know. Bill in Brantford, Ontario writes in and says, TV crush, Angie Dickinson from Police Woman. Rob in Yorkton says, great show today, Rod. First crush, Kate Pearson, the B-52s. I'm realizing the age of our audience. Because my reference used to be, I used to say He thinks he's Tom Selleck. I used to say that about guys that really thought they were shit hot, Dave. He thinks he's Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck's 79. I got to get a new reference. Okay, who's yours?
I got a better one for you. One time somebody was hit something, and I go, "What do you think? You're the Fonz?" And the person looked at me so puzzled.
The Fonz. It's funny you say that because the guy brought up a Ralph Malph reference the other day. Remember that, Ralph?
Yeah.
Just brought that up the other day. Okay. I said it was going to get fun. I told you. Point 3, the 2025 CFL season will kick off in Regina as two teams who returned to the playoffs last season will look to build on the momentum. The Saskatchewan Roughriders will welcome the Ottawa Redblacks on June 5th at Mosaic Stadium to start the CFL season. Toronto kicks off its Grey Cup title defense the next day at Montreal. And then a doubleheader on June 7th to close out Week 1. Calgary hosts Hamilton and BC entertains Edmonton. They're saying, by the way, from the stats, the CFL people saying if Nathan Rourke of BC starts against Trey Ford of Edmonton, it'll be the first time since 1968, I think. Two Canadian teams opposed each other. And your Bombers aren't invited to the Week 1 party, David. They open with a bye, and then Week 2, June 12th, they got BC there. Go ahead.
I think it's the worst. The bye week. I mean, like your bye weeks, you're supposed to nurse your injuries, get better, practice a little harder, stuff like just when you come back from that, rest and relax. And, you come from training camp and you're going to be like, I don't know, that Week 1 bye. I mean, it has to happen. There's 9 teams in the league. Every team has a Week 1 bye probably in their lifespan until we get to 10 teams. But that's a terrible, terrible bye week. It's not Week 1. Then, BC Lions, a formidable opponent. We got a lot of back-to-backs, too, because then we go to BC the week after that, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then there's a series, a home-and-home series against Calgary later on, home-and-home series against Toronto in the month of August and stuff. So it's kind of a different schedule. I mean, we're used to the home-and-home rivalry with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but this year, counting preseason, we played the Saskatchewan Roughriders 5 times.
Say that again. You played the Roughriders 5 times?
Twice in the preseason and 3 times in the regular season.
Okay, did Wade Miller or Mike O'Shea address that? Why is that a thing? That's a little much.
I mean, hey, maybe there's costs involved with the travel opponent for the preseason. I get it. But, I mean, we always have the Labor Day Classic. Regina always has the Labor Day Classic. We come after that with the Banjo Bowl. And then we play Saskatchewan October the 17th at home, Week 20.
Okay. I trust you. Late night with Smitty writes in. He says, the Bengals had a bye in Week 1 back in 2000. Sure, I'm sure as time. Well, now these days, no NFL teams have a bye in Week 1. I think they realize that's ridiculous. But in the CFL with 9 teams, it has to happen. We had it with Sask. I mean, you get the guys all worked up and revved up for training camp, and then you play your 2 preseason games, and then you got to sit and wait while the rest of the league has the Week 1 part. It sucks, but you know what? John in Edmonton writes in, and he says, Rod and Dave, Edmonton Elks fans are not happy that the home opener for the team is on a Thursday. I don't care. I'll still go. What do you have to say to those fans? I have to say to them, stop bitching. For the love of God, quit bitching. People in L.A. just lost their house. Stop bitching. You got to go to a Thursday night football game. Jesus, I'm sick of it. Cardinal Ryan writes in.
It works well. I was going to say it works well it works well in Manitoba, the Thursday games, because people have their weekends and things like that. Then we have, I love Friday night football games. I love them, but I don't hate Thursday night football games. And I think the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have 3 of them.
Here's the meme today, Clark. There is no larger amount of bitchers than CFL fans. So I've enjoyed the offseason. It's January, and here we are. The schedule's been out a day, and people are bitching about it. I cannot. Dude, Dave, the winter's nice. I don't hear people bitching in the winter. It's just CFL fans. Changed my mind.
The bitching was because the schedule doesn't usually come out in December, and yesterday was the 16th of January. It's like, well, we want to plan our summers. You're planning your summers already? Like you're planning your summer in January? Like I don't even know what I'm doing next week. Now I put the Bomber games in my calendar, and yeah, you know what? I can look at that different things, and I have family, not family, but friends' weddings and friends' kids' weddings and stuff, and I have my fingers crossed when that schedule comes out. It's not going to conflict with any of those things like I have planned, but it's if it came out in December, it wouldn't have changed anything. It's not like I would have said, "Hey, man, I can't go to your kid's wedding. Can they move it to Wednesday?" It's not going to happen, right? So it's you get it when you get
it. The quote will be this: it will live in infamy. There's no bigger bitchers in the world than CFL fans. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm done with it. That's what I have to say to you, John, in Edmonton, and those bitching about Thursday night games. I'm done with you. Then don't freaking go. So, regarding the Fonz, Arthur Fonzarelli, Ryan in upstate New York writes in, he says the Fonz, sit on it. Sit on it. Oh, my God. Stacy in Access World Headquarters, Access Television World Headquarters watching, says, I missed the show yesterday, but my first celebrity crush was Samantha Fox. Your lips to my ears.
Big, oh, yeah. She had those big blue eyes. Like, it was fantastic.
I was going to say those big eyeballs. Yeah. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, how about Jan Smithers, Bailey Quarters on WKRP, Smoke Show? I feel like you're either a Jennifer Marlowe guy or a Bailey Quarters guy. Yeah. It's like Betty and Veronica in the Archie's comics, right?
100%.
Hey, this is interesting. I don't mind. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, CFL fans and bitching matches the age demographics. Yeah, well, let me say this about Vikings. You guys play probably, when I say you guys, you're a season ticket holder. You play the odd Thursday game. You had to wait to play a Monday game. You had your game moved to Glendale. I don't hear any bitching, which from the NFL fans, I just don't. I'm sure there were short weeks.
Yeah. Well,
am I missing the mark?
They said that was 51% probably were Vikings fans in Glendale for that Monday night game that got moved. So you have now invested a plane ticket to LA, probably rented a hotel, probably had to rent a car, maybe you had your whole week planned, and then the game goes to Arizona. So you got to start scratching, I know that the LA Rams management had buses for their fans, but they're not doing that for the Minnesota Vikings. So I didn't hear anything like, that's the way the ball bounces, the cookie, nothing. And yeah. And then the only time you hear the odd thing is if there's an injury to somebody in a Thursday game and they played the previous Sunday. That's the only time you really hear bitching from the teams. But it's exciting. And then what did we have? Did we have a Christmas Day games? You had Saturday games. You had games all the time. You know what? An NFL football season, if there was games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Monday, I'd be watching.
One thing I love about this show is it makes me think. I hope it makes the audience think. And the gentleman, Rich in Edmonton, says it's symbolic of the demographic of the fan base in the CFL. Well, I know you get older and you can become that get off my lawn guy. But I've got mellower the older that I've got. Way more open-minded and a hell of a lot happier. So I'm not sure I buy the age thing. Dave, you're pretty damn happy the older you get, although you always kind of have been. But I'm just saying I'm not here for the CFL fan bitching. I guess literally take it somewhere else is all.
Yeah. I mean, there's great. Mm-hmm. I mean, after Labor Day, we see Saskatchewan in week 20. We see Edmonton in week 19. But we've got Hamilton, Ottawa, Who do we have near the end there? I'm just looking Montreal. Like, I'd love to see more Western games in that second half of the season. But, again, it's just a quirk. I mean, there's a lot of different factors going in there. I'd love to see. We got Saskatchewan week 20. That could be playoff preview. And other weeks we've had other years you've had Calgary near the end. You've had BC near the end. And, a couple of years ago, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers ran away with it, so there weren't anything. But this year, it came down to Winnipeg had to win in Montreal to get the home field advantage and get first place in the West. So it doesn't matter who your opponents are, and we won, right? So, like I said, I like those rivalries. You don't seem to have that same rivalry with Ottawa, or not anymore with Hamilton, but you have the rivalries with the Calgary, the Edmontons, the Saskatchewans, and the BC Lions. And I'd love to see that. I'd love to see an unbalanced schedule where you play those guys more often than not, but you still want to see. There was one year we didn't see Ottawa. There's one year we didn't see Toronto, right? So you can't. You have to figure it out. It's probably the toughest thing in the world is the CFL schedule. The schedule guys are doing it. TSN's chirping in one ear. You've got stadiums. You got people there. You got things they're going to book. There's lots of weird factors.
Yeah, I also think, though, it was inexcusable that they didn't have it out in December, but I also wasn't losing sleep over it. John, the same John in Edmonton writes in, he says, NFL fans don't bitch about Thursday night games, but CFL fans do every year. Why is that? I would say, John, why don't you think about that and get back to me? I'd love to know what you think. Rich in Edmonton says, with regards to me not getting worked up, he says, South Florida will do that, Rod. Hello. Yeah, but it's not just that. You probably, Dave, saw the photo of me in a suite last night. I was at a birthday party invited to it by Alex Butsky. He's a big Panthers fan. The team DJ came down, DJ Genesis. We're all in this suite. And Alex turned to me, the birthday boy, and he goes, just so you know, the guys really love having you around. The guys in our Facebook group, they love when you post. They love having you around. And I didn't say it, but I thought, what a nice thing to say. It made me feel real good. So what I would say to the CFL fans, instead of talking shit about each other all the time, maybe put some nice things out there. See how that goes for you. Because that's the world I'm living in now. And I love it. If you want to know why I'm so happy. Dave, we really took off here. I'm going to play Deal or No Deal with you, and then I'll let you go. What that is, I'll give you the point spreads for the NFL games this weekend. You decide if you're going to take the bet or not, okay? So the very first game is Houston and Kansas City, AFC divisional game. The Chiefs are favored by 8.5. Will you take them to cover?
I would take the Kansas City Chiefs.
To cover by 8.5?
Cover, yeah.
Yeah, this is not straight up.
Yes.
Yeah, I will not. I think the Chiefs will win, but I don't think they'll cover. Washington at Detroit, Lions favored by 8.5. Are you taking the bet or not?
I'm taking Lions to win, but they're not going to cover. So I obviously take Washington then.
No deal, exactly. That's the hook, man. It's for gambling degenerates. But this is all about. LA Rams at Philadelphia. Deal or no deal? Eagles by 6.
Take Eagles and the points.
Okay, there you go. See, you're getting into it. You're getting the degenerate lingo. And then the game of the weekend, which is our poll question, what's the game of the weekend in the NFL Round 2 playoffs? Running away with it is this. Like 75% of respondents saying it's this game. Baltimore at Buffalo. Ravens favored by 1.5 points. Are you taking the Ravens to win, basically, because that's like a razor-thin point spread? 1.5 points. You going to take that bet or not?
Take Buffalo.
You're taking Buffalo to win?
Buffalo to win.
No deal from Dave, but it's a deal for me because I think Derrick Henry and the Ravens are going to go in there and roll. All right, Doc, I could go on with you forever, but I'll let you go. Hey, have you ever worn the shirt that I sent you with the RP Show logo in bomber colors? I've never seen you in that shirt. Does it not fit? Do you not like it?
No, you sent me two. They both fit perfectly. But it's like today with the wind chill, it's like minus 60. So I dressed a little warmer today.
I got you. All right, buddy. My best to Karen. Thanks so much, Dave. Always
Thanks.
good seeing you. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right, it's a football Friday, and I got all the time in the world for you, whatever football you want to talk, or anything else for that matter. We'll be back in a moment here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Okay. Well, that was fun with Dave, wasn't it? And now it's just you and me the rest of the way. Sorry. Hour one is brought to you by Culligan Regina. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. It is a big deal that the Rough Riders are opening the CFL season June 5th against Ottawa. It's exciting to have the first game of the year in your house. That part's cool, for sure. It's in my commentary today, which you can read at rodpeterson.com or on Sask Radio. I don't get a charge out of the schedule coming out. It's not, I never got a charge out of the WHL schedule coming out either when I was working in that league. It's like, tell me where to be and where, and I'll be there. That's all. Not a big deal. Sports is so different than you people that, let's say, work 9 to 5, or you're a shift worker, 410s, whatever. We all have our thing. And sports is all over the place, and that actually builds character in my mind. Just, you get comfortable being uncomfortable. Oh, which, by the way, speaking of working in sports, I'm come to that in a second. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information at emjmarketing.com. Here's your sports update on this Friday. A quiet evening in the NHL with only 2 games on tap. The Pittsburgh Penguins visit the Buffalo Sabres in a clash of struggling teams, while the Vegas Golden Knights face the Carolina Hurricanes on the road. Vegas looks to fend off the surging Edmonton Oilers in the race for first place in the Pacific Division. The Oil came back from a 3-0 deficit in Denver last night, beat the Colorado Avalanche 4-3. We're going to catch Vegas in Chicago on Monday night, heading to Chicago right after this show today. Here's the story I was telling you about. Pittsburgh Penguins star Evgeny Malkin's 3 Stanley Cup rings have been recovered after going missing in a home invasion. Police say the rings were found in another part of Malkin's home. Malkin reported the burglary on January 11th after returning from Pittsburgh's 5-0 loss to Ottawa. While the rings have been returned, the investigation is ongoing. Stop the presses. Are we supposed to believe, and I've been following this story because I put it in my South Florida Tribune column this week, which airs what is printed every Wednesday for the dinosaurs, printed every Wednesday edition of the South Florida Tribune. I had in there that Malkin's house was robbed and his 3 Stanley Cup rings were gone. What this story doesn't tell you, but mine did, was that he didn't enable his home alarm when he left, so there was no alarm on in the house, and he left the door of his safe open. That was part of the police report. And now we find out, oh, the rings are in another room. How do you know if you were robbed at all? So I know for a fact if we were sitting around a team meal and this came out, I would say, you donkey. Now, I don't know of Jenny Malkin. I've heard from lots of guys that do, that he's a great guy. But I mean, come on. Do you people in Saskatchewan remember the national news, or at least province-wide news, when Don Narcise's Grey Cup ring and Hall of Fame ring were stolen? Do you remember that? You may or may not, Clark. It was big news. Don Narcisse, Canadian Football Hall of Famer. Month later, rings turn up in a hidden pouch of his gym bag. I'm like, just keep that to yourself, narco. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors look to extend their modest 2-game win streak as they visit the Milwaukee Bucks, aiming for their first 3-game run of the season. The Raptors are currently 6 wins behind last season's pace when they reached the season's midpoint with a 16-25 record last year. In Landmark Cinemas now, you may want to check it out this weekend, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog returns to the big screen in his most thrilling adventure yet. Sonic, Knuckles, apparently Bob Irving is in the movie. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain with powers unlike anything they have faced before. Starring Idris Elba, Keanu Reeves, and Jim Carrey, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is in Landmark Cinemas now. Or it could be starring Chris Nyland, too. Chris Knuckles Nyland. And every time I think of Knuckles, I think of those Habs fans that watch this show every day, and they very patiently know that we don't talk about the Habs other than reading their scores. We don't sit and talk about them a ton, nor Les Alouettes. But they did say when the Habs come through Florida, will you go watch them and tell us what you think? And I'm proud to say, because I learned how to scout from my dad, that I gave you the goods. They're it. They are it. And they won last night over Dallas. I didn't even pick them to win. Montreal's legit, man. The Habs. And, get primed for a lot of winning. I think they're going to be in the playoffs this year. And then they're going to be good for a long time. We'll be back with a mini overtime right after this, okay? Because it is a Football Friday. We got a lot of football to get to. Carlos in Indianapolis, what do you got for us? Let us know in the break at 902-518-3033. We'll return in a moment here on Game Plus Television, live streaming and podcasts, wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house. Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Oh, yeah. This is the studio. It's the rolling studio, the RP show. 902-518-3033 on a Football Friday. The phone is full. You can see my reaction a lot of times when I'm reading these texts from the viewers on the 902 line, or some of these people, like this guy, Freezer Bag? Is that his Freezer Bag writes it? He just came in and just started blowing hot air. The only funny thing he said, Freezer Bag writes it, he says, Wayne Gretzky always told me no one likes a name dropper.
How about
That's
that?
funny. And then the rest of his comments are really rude and spreading a lot of negativity and hate. Guy, what's wrong with you? That would you come in here and do that? Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and he says, I know it's Football Friday, but how about that Red Wings effort versus the defending champion Panthers? We addressed it right off the start. It's Football Friday, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that other than to say that my good friend George Eichhorn, who's a good friend of mine from, well, you people that grew up in the era that I did watching WXYZ television out of Detroit. George was a producer there. I just got to know him within the last 6 months. He's still in Detroit, but we do a show down here called The Sports Exchange. And he's like, how about my Red Wings? What'd you think? Just like the Habs fans. What did you think of our team? I'm like, Stevie Y was right. I'm sorry, it's Football Friday, but you asked. Stevie Y was right. He goes, this team is too good to be underachieving individually the way that they are. Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, Cam Talbot, Alex DeBrincat, that's a playoff team. And they're now 8-2 under Todd McClellan, and I think the NHL's best power play. So George is like, how could they get so good so fast under Todd McClellan? I guess they really didn't like the last guy. That's what it looks like. I'm sure he's a good guy, but Utah Darren, regarding the 3 Stanley Cup rings being retrieved. Like, Utah Darren says, what was missing from the house? Are we supposed to believe that the robbers went and scooped up everything into a pillowcase and then left the 3 Stanley Cup rings in another room? Really? What is this, the 2 robbers from Home Alone? Come on. I have no idea how or why this came up, but Jeff the Stamps fan says, the nice thing about the Stampeders is they are owned by the Flames. We don't have to panic at empty seats. Pretty enviable position for a CFL team to be in. You know, here's the thing. The Calgary Stampeders could be found to be mass murderers, and Jeff the Stampsman would find a way to be positive about it and defend them. And that's fine. Why am I wearing Dallas Cowboys gear today? That is my team. I don't like Jerry Jones. I would never work for Jerry Jones. Funny thing is, he's not offering me a job. But what I'm saying is, your team is your team. And you tend to look the other way at other things. If you want to look the other way at empty seats at McMahon, it's not your bank account. I would too. John in Edmonton says, Rod, how much are you paying the NHL and the Chicago Blackhawks to use Connor Bedard and that Canada Blood ad? It's called giving your time for free. John in Edmonton, you should try it. We do have a lot of great questions that have come in from the audience, and I'll get to those. 902-518-3033 right after this break. And then Jim Barker, segment 2 of Hour 2. It's a big hour ahead. Stick around.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Like I said, hey, off the top an hour ago, if you want arrogant and annoying, you come to the right place. It is the RP Show, Hour 2. I'm excited because it's going to be a tremendous weekend. Last hour, we put last night to bed. That's what Hour 1 is for. We actually talked about the NHL leftovers. The sports doctor was with us, Dave Petrishen. Just to get the guys' attention in the control room, you guys want to hit the quick six show horn? Do you mind firing it up, please? Thank you.
How about that?
This is what we talked about an hour ago. NHL leftovers, because it was a very big night in the NHL. If you want to talk about that on a Football Friday, go back an hour, because we addressed it with Dave Petrishen last hour. He was at the Jets' 2-1 victory over the Seattle Kraken. I was at the Florida Panthers and the Detroit Red Wings, and Detroit had their way with the Cats here, 5-2. We talked about the CFL schedule release yesterday and went through the schedule, all those juicy things. Not to say we won't talk about them here. I just want you to know it's been covered. We made our NFL round 2 picks this weekend. Doubleheader Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be fan-flippin-tastic. Have not talked about the College Football National Championship, which will be played Monday night in Atlanta. But we will, because Jim Barker's coming up in the next segment. And I can't even begin to tell you just how frothing at the mouth just Joe average sports fan is down here about that game. Buckeyes fighting Irish. And as much as I'm trying to just stay on point of NHL CFL, NFL. That's what we do here. I'm slowly getting sucked into the college football world, and that's fine, but I'm going at my own pace. But what I will tell you, if you care to, if you have the gumption, dipping your toe in the water, the ocean that is the college football scene, is the undertow, the riptide, just sucks you right under. Because it's so big, it's so immense, it's unending, and it's so awesome. And the longer that I'm here, the more that I'll get into it. But I'm still trying to stay on point of NHL, CFL, NFL. That's my bread and butter. So that's what we've discussed. I've got written down here NHL tonight, but there's only 2 games. I'll get to those later this hour. And sports weekend. Serena and I are boarding a plane right after this show and heading to Chicago for 2 weekend games with the Blackhawks. It's her birthday present to me. How lucky am I? Going to the Windy City of Chicago. They've got the Carolina Hurricanes in there Saturday night, the Vegas Golden Knights in there Monday night, and then coming home. It's going to be cold, minus 13 Celsius. Nothing with what a lot of you are putting up with in Canada, from what I understand. But it's funny, on our Cats and Bolts podcast that we do down here every week, we had a guest in there, Nick Fairbanks, this week. He's from a show called Locked On Panthers here, and he's originally from Chicago. I said I'd never been there. And he goes, okay, well, here's what you need to do. Take a parka and 2 windbreakers, and I'm like, hey, bro, hey, I'm from Saskatchewan. Say less. Still excited to go, for sure. So from the text line, we'll have leftovers of pizza, because we've had 2 pizza places we've been told that we have to go, so we're going to try them both. Leftovers from yesterday's show are just so yummy that we're continuing them here today, and that is, I don't know how it came up. We said, who is your childhood crush? Who's the first person you remember having a crush on? And for me, it was Lonnie Anderson. I was like 7. Big fan. Lonnie Anderson, WKRP. And people have just continued to write in with theirs. Clark, who did you say yours were? It was a Power Ranger? Did you have an actual person? Who's yours, Ryan? Who was your childhood crush? Male or female, don't matter to me. We don't judge. Do you remember? Halle Berry. Yeah. The program. And the Flintstones. Yeah. This is Ryan, right? You're speaking very softly. Oh, it's Bryce. Okay. We play this fun game of rotating producers and directors on this show. You should try it sometime. It's real easy on me. Real great for the show. Mark, but you're doing a great job. I just didn't know who's there. Mark in Burlington, Ontario writes it and says his is Marcia Brady from the Brady Bunch. And boy, does that dovetail well into a topic that, again, it's not that hard to talk NFL. It's not that hard to talk college football or any of these sports. All you need to do is watch them. And you'll get an opinion. With the Brady Bunch, Tom Brady's ass is a little bit on fire this week, and I kind of get a kick out of who started it, and that is Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. I listen to him every day, and for weeks he's been railing on this conflict of interest that how is Tom Brady allowed to own 10% of the Las Vegas Raiders, but also be the lead color guy on Fox? This is not right. To the point I feel like just saying, Mike, let it go. But he can't let it go. And now Sports Business Journal's involved and Wall Street Journal's involved, and they're all demanding the NFL make a statement on why are you allowing this to happen? It's in your Constitution that it's not allowed, but here you are. And Florio started it all. And I think part of the reason I love Florio so much is he kind of reminds me of me, but the old me. And like, for instance, my guy R. Krause is texting in from Rollo. He says Daisy Duke. Bro, we covered this yesterday. I said, when you have a design of cutoff jeans named after you, Daisy Dukes, a style, you're in the Hall of Fame. Daisy Duke is in the Hall of Fame of child first crushes. She's on the Mount Rushmore. Daisy Duke. Anyways, that's the old me, railing on things that you have no control over. I'll just say it because that's why you're here, and it's just me right now. A lot of people say that's when it's the most entertaining. Hey, Florio, you're not an owner. You're not even on television in terms of you're not a broadcaster in the booth. You're a pundit. You're a talking head like me. Why do you care so much? Let it go. He can't let these things go like most people. It's like Theron Fleury with Trudeau. Very close friend of mine, Theo. I'll tell anybody that. But I'm like, Theo, let it go. Eventually, Trudeau steps down. And Theo can take a victory lap. But the sleepless nights he's spent in between, it's like me. I don't like the people that are running the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's not news. Okay? Not only do I not like them, I don't think they do a good job. But nobody cares what I think. So it's like, Rod, let it go. So I have. Living in South Florida where life's great. Like eventually, let it go. And I'd like to sit Florio down like somebody did to me and just said, let it go. Release it. You'll be so much happier. But on the flip side, Florio's really entertaining bitching about this. And that's how we started all this. And now he's fanned the flames so much that now there's an investigation into it. And I'll guarantee you, Tom Brady will not be either on Fox or an owner of the Vegas Raiders. It won't continue in 2026. It won't. And you know what? That'll cost Brady $35 to $37 million, what he's getting from Fox, so he can walk up to Florio at Super Bowl and thank him for that. So, again, like I said, I was probably far more entertaining when I was ranting and raving and a flipping maniac. But I'm not that guy anymore. I don't want to be that guy anymore, and you're still here. Vintage Sasko writes in, 902-518-3033. Vintage Sasko. He says, hi, Uncle Rod. Great show. Glad to see the iconic Guy Fieri on your show. The sports doctor, Dave Petrishen, who was with us an hour ago, is the clone of Guy Fieri from Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Clone. After I visit Chicago this weekend, I will have completed all of my bucket list in terms of things I want to do and things I want to see in my life. I did it at 52. Congrats. I got to start a new list. And that's from the advice of the guy that I'm going to meet in Chicago, Mike Lee, Mydale Mike, who's a landman, an oil man. He's the original landman. And I told him, Mike, what do you do when you scratch off everything on your bucket list? Mike goes, make a new list. So one of those things is we're going to be sitting in the Chicago Blackhawks alumni suite for 2 games this weekend at United Center. Somebody wrote in here earlier and said, how much did you pay for the tickets? I hate to say it, we didn't. Mike did. So we'll have to buy him a pizza. But on that bucket list, that new list will be walking down the Vegas Strip with Dave Petrishen and see what people's reaction is. That's something I want to do. Is it warped? Probably, but I've been accused of being warped before. He says, where is Guy's best recommendation for pizza in Winnipeg? Do you Winnipeggers want to answer that? You want to take a stab at that?
How about that?
At 902-518-3033. I would say the Pony Corral. I've had very good pizza at the Pony Corral. Greeks make great pizza. It's very underrated. You don't think of going to a Greek place for pizza, but you might want to. Winnipeg pizza recommendations from Guy Fieri or our Winnipeg audience, please, so I can pass them along. He says, I'm attending my first Jets game in March, plus maybe Banjo Bowl and Grey Cup. Need pizza. Signed, Vintage Sasko. Yeah, me talking about going to Chicago for deep dish pizza this weekend's really got me craving pizza. It'll be just a matter of hours before that's in the gullet. Mike writes in, Mike Kokoski. For some reason, the text line is acting up in terms of, I don't know, I can't tell where the texts are coming from, but I can read you the name. Mike says, There is a huge need for a 10th team in the CFL. 18 games, 10 teams playing each team twice. Get it done already.
Hot damn.
Let it go. Brett writes in. He says, I would have to say childhood crush, Jacqueline Smith, while everyone else was fawning over Farrah. She's talking about Farrah Fawcett. Again, it's like, do you like Bailey Quarters? Do you like Jennifer Marlowe? Do you like Betty? Do you like Veronica? Do you like Jacqueline Smith? Do you like Farrah Fawcett? Hey, it would be a boring world if we all agreed. Laverne in Swift Current writes in, hey, Laverne, where's Shirley? Never gets old. Laverne says, Stephen A. Smith is full of hot air. Jim Barker's full of fresh air. Always look forward to Football Friday. Jim Barker's coming in next. It was 1 week ago that Jim Barker quoted Stephen A. Smith and was incorrect on the fact. I thought we were past all that. I was brought up in this business and trained to be accurate in what you report. That doesn't matter. That's another thing that Florio rails on all the time. Accuracy doesn't matter. He goes, hey, used to be if you lied on your resume back in the day, not only would you not get the job, you'd be blackballed in the entire industry. Now everybody does it. Let it go. So Stephen A. Smith, who incidentally did come up in the industry same time I did, him writing for the Philadelphia Inquirer on the NBA. Stephen A. has it now. It's more important, and I said it to Jim Barker after last week's show. Stephen A.'s proved it. It's more important to be loud, be the loudest, than the rightest. Let it go. That used to bother me. Let it go. Brad in Shaunavon. Not doing it. Nope. This might be my New Year's resolution. Brad writes in from Shaunavon, Sask. He says, why haven't they just put all teams in one division? Top 2 teams get a bye. The last one is out. Signed, Brad in Shaunavon. He's talking, you're talking about the Canadian Football League, right, Brad? Guys, I don't want to do it anymore. What do you think that the longer that you continue with these complaints, a 10th team, I'm uncle.
Spicy.
Uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Is there not something else out there that you can talk about? Ohio State and Notre Dame have reached the same destination with rosters built much the same way. The teams set to play in the college football playoff championship game in Atlanta on Monday night sign elite high school recruiting classes year after year. That has been and continues to be their foundations. While many teams relentlessly mine the transfer portal in hopes of finding gems, Ohio State and Notre Dame have used the portal judiciously, equally, and with great success while putting together their current teams. Both are college football royalty and can offer NIL riches to go with the exposure and coaching, enhancing a player's chance of winning a championship and getting to the next level. I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about Notre Dame and OSU meeting Monday night for the College Football National Championship when we come back with Jim Barker. I can't do it anymore. The 10th team and the one, I can't do it. So if that doesn't interest you, goodbye. Jim Barker in next from the CFL on TSN, live on Game Plus, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Weird things come up on this show. It came up yesterday. Who was your childhood crush? And people are writing in with that. John in London, Ontario writes, and he says, my first 3 crushes, Peggy Lipton from the Mod Squad and Goldie Hawn from Laugh-In. That's 2. Chad in Lethbridge writes it. He says, great week of shows, my guy. Cool to see different guests with you each week while Moose is on the loose. Safe travels to Chicago. Enjoy the sightseeing. Yes, I can't wait. We'll be on a plane as soon as the show is over to Chi-Town. Jim Barker joins us, 5-time CFL champion. How you doing, JB? How's your week been?
You reminded me of George Costanza's father in the episode when he was nothing was going to bother him. Serenity now. You need this vacation, buddy. I can't wait for you to get to Chicago.
I was fine till these fans got me worked up. I'm always looking so forward to Friday when it rolls around. Listen, Jim, as you said last week, you're an LA guy. This will not surprise you. Here in South Florida, where we're nowhere near South Bend or Columbus, they're going nuts about Notre Dame OSU Monday night. What are your thoughts?
Oh, the country is. They were going nuts in LA when I was there last. It's such a great matchup because you have Ohio State and their $20 million roster and their former NFL head coach is now their offensive coordinator. And then you have Notre Dame with their 36-year, 37, very young head coach and playing for all the right reasons. And you never hear about what their salary cap or salary that they're giving out on their NIL because they're not Ohio State. So it's kind of the good versus the evil. And it really does make for a classic matchup. Notre Dame, I think, improved. They lost their first game of the year to Northern Illinois and just kept improving. And basically, they had 3 common opponents with Ohio State, and Ohio State beat them by a total of 75 points. Notre Dame beat them by a total of 72 points. Yet the spread on this game is 8.5 points. So I think that's a lot of points. I think Notre Dame can make big plays. They're excellent on special teams. Their head coach he's got a little bit of Dan Campbell in him, in that he's going to do what he wants to do, and if they're going to go for it, they're going to run fake punts, and they just have a lot of big plays, not necessarily out of any individual player. I mean, their 2 running backs both have the potential to break big plays, but for the most part, it's just through creativity and those kinds of things. Ohio State, they have Jeremiah Smith, the number 1 big play guy in the country. If he was going in the draft, he'd probably be the first guy taken. So, you've got, like I say, I look at it as good versus evil.
I just enjoy following the talk, man. They call them blue bloods, right? Like royalty, college football royalty meeting in this championship. And but here's the thing: I look forward to this, just like our viewers do, Jim, because I'm a talking head. I'm no expert. I don't pretend to be. I.e., last week you said the Vikings were done. You said the Lions knocked the stuffing out of them, right, in that Sunday night game, the last game of the regular season, and you were right. You guys know. I defer to you guys. So what do you see this weekend in the divisional round 2? Any upsets there?
You know what? I don't. I think the Rams have an outside chance, but I just don't see them going into Philadelphia. I just see the home teams. I think they're going to be difficult to beat. I mean, Houston has a great defense. Is Mixon going to be healthy where they can run the ball some? But I don't see them going in there and beating Kansas City. This whole three-peat thing it's not going to go away with I just don't see it going away with the Houston Texans. And then you have, the upstart Washington Commanders, and they got their win, and Jaden Daniels showed he can win in the playoffs, but they're going into Detroit. And, that's just a completely different kettle of fish. And again, I think Detroit right now is as good a team as there is in the league. And so I don't see them going in there and beating Detroit. And then the best game without question is both Buffalo and Baltimore. And all the, I like Buffalo for 2 reasons. I think Baltimore has the better players around Lamar Jackson, but I'm taking Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson and the fans and weather of Buffalo to beat Baltimore. And I just think that I think the Bills have this. There's something about them that I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. They're not super talented, but they just believe they're going to win. And Josh Allen gives them that feeling that, you know what, things may be down a little bit, but I'm going to come back and we're going to, if I've got to carry it, 15 times. Doug Flutie had that. And I'll never forget our Eastern Final game in 1997 when we couldn't do anything. We couldn't get anything going. And he just kind of, the last, right toward the end of the game, took it in his own hands from our 5-yard line and scrambled for 15 and then scrambled for 20. And then I think he had 3 or 4 scrambles in a row where he got pretty good yards, got us out to about the 50, and then he hits Pinball Clemens with a perfect throw for a touchdown. We win the game. I mean, that's Josh Allen to me. Josh Allen is going to find a way to will that team to win. Like I say, I think Baltimore probably a little better on defense. The offensive lines, I think Baltimore, they have Derrick Henry, and I think their offensive, everything is, their whole team, I think, might be a little better, but they're going into Buffalo. The weather's going to be there's just too many things to say Buffalo's not going to win that game. So, but I think that's the best game of the weekend, the toughest to call, and I'm going to, because I want to pull for Buffalo, and Vince Magri, my guy from Toronto, and is there along with Curtis Ruckavina, another guy from Toronto. They're both in their front office, and they did the advance on this game. So I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to watch how they play, and I just, like I say, I'm going to take Buffalo because of Josh Allen. That's how good I think he is in the playoffs, and I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson.
Well, that would go into the books. That would go, I know, well, both quarterbacks have something to prove. That also is what makes it very tantalizing. One of them will overcome it. One will be not getting it done. But the Ravens are favored going in, so if the Bills win, that's an upset. Here's the thing, Jim. You've been around, I've been around, been with a lot of teams. Owners. The fans don't understand the control these guys have. And the road that I'm going down here, they have it all. And the fans don't understand. I'm still wearing this despite I think I would loathe Jerry Jones. They're my team. No, I do loathe Jerry Jones. Who did you like as an Argos owner? You had $1 million in your time. Who did you? I won't ask you who you didn't like, but who did you like? Who was the best owner in your time with the Argos?
Well, it would have been Labatt's, and when they owned it, to me it was just everything was pretty good. Bob Nicholson was our president, and again, when I came back, it was in turmoil in 2010. You get jobs because things are bad, and in Toronto, they were as bad as they could be. And then our facility burned down, and Mr. Braley came in to try to save. And, he put his money there, and he tried to help us, but ultimately he owned the BC Lions. And, we had times we would meet, and people forget all this stuff now. All they do is they look at, what did they do in that period of time? And I think we were fortunate to have done what we did to keep it going. Because, we would meet our players would meet in the bar over at University of Toronto, Mississauga, and then we would tell them, okay, today, here's where we're going to practice. Here's where we're meeting, in this classroom and in this. And it was different every day because we didn't have a facility, which was a huge disadvantage. But Mr. Braley did the best he could. And then, like I say, when MLSE came in, they've been, I was with them for 1 year, and then I got fired, and then I went back with them a second year, and so it's the one that I enjoyed the most was Labatt. That was the one I enjoyed. That was before they sold it to Sherwood Schwartz, and then when Sherwood Schwartz got it, he never fired me. He just changed the key at the coach's office. So I went to go to work in January on a beautiful Monday morning. My key didn't work, so I called the league office and said, "Oh yeah, that closed over the weekend. We probably should have called you." So
See,
yeah,
this is the thing.
Great experiences.
Jeff Fairholm was on that staff in like 2000. And he's like,
yeah, he came right after I left.
Yeah, I think John Heward is literally psycho based on things Jeff Fairholm has told me. And this is why, Jim, I can't work for a team or in the league anymore. I can't, because these stories that you're talking about, yourself, we look back and go, oh, they felt like the worst times. They were actually the best of times. And when I talk about the 90s CFL, those guys in the league office like Cohan and Jamie Dykstra, they're like, Rod, don't talk about that. Don't talk about it. We want to forget about that. I'm like, it's your history. It's your family. You want to talk about family? But they don't want to talk about that stuff, Jim. And I'm like, and furthermore, I go about Florio, how he rants on how things aren't the way they used to be. The people in the leagues now, it's not just CFL, it's all leagues. They don't honor the past. They don't respect the past. They don't respect the people that paved the damn way for you to have a job. And that drives me nuts. And you know what I'm like, for instance, I saw Jason Garrett, an interview. He said he went into Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin has all the Steelers facility adorned with the history, the past of the Steelers. You can't walk in there without, you're going to let this guy down, Terry Bradshaw's image, if you don't give your best today in practice, let alone Sunday. You know what I mean? But that's just the way I am. And that's not saying it's right. And that's where I've had to realize, Jim, I got to let it go. Because that's just the way it is now. Do you see that?
It's all owner. Look at the Washington Redskins become the Washington Commanders, and for all those years, that everybody, when they had Daniel Snyder, they were just pathetic, and now they get Josh Harris in there, in the ownership position. You can talk about changing coaches and doing, but it's not. It all starts with ownership. And teams are going to be as good as ownership and management is. And Jerry Jones admitted it. He said, I didn't buy this team to be an owner who sat back. I bought this team as a hobby. This is what I wanted to do for the next 30 years. And that's what I've done. He didn't want Jerry Jones there, or Jimmy Johnson there doing everything for him. So if he wants to hire Deion Sanders to be his head coach, he's going to hire Deion Sanders, and he's going to enjoy watching the people watching the Florios of the world talk about it. That's his right to do. He's earned the right to do that, and that's what you have to understand about pro sports. Are these guys buy the team, and they can do anything they want. I had an owner who bought the team so his kid could be the starting quarterback, and you can think that could never happen, and it happened. I lived it, and again, it's just part of what pro sports are. Sometimes we like to think they're bigger than they are, but they're a rich guy buying a team and saying, this is what I want to do with it.
Well, as I say, in the recovery business, when people are that same mentality, it's my team, I can do what I want. Yeah, how's that working out for you? That you're the laughing stock of the NFL and you haven't been to the conference championship in 30 years. How's that working out, Jerry? Good for you.
But you're wearing Jerry Jones' star. You're wearing Jerry Jones' star there. Your favorite team in the CFL. You can't stand management there. So it's like, it doesn't matter. You're not cheering for anything except for something else, Rod.
I know. It's an abusive relationship is what it is. Me and the Dallas Cowboys. John Barker, your brother, writes in. It says, I remember Jim getting fired on Christmas Eve. The headline was Barker gets lump of coal for Christmas. Can you tell that story in 2 minutes or less?
Yeah, absolutely. That was Mr. Federick, and I had cut his son at the end of the season. I figured, how bad can it get? And I'd cut his son at the end of the season. When he got back, I got a call. My mother was flying in for Christmas on the 23rd, and I got called into the office. They wanted me to look at a player, and I go in there, and Ron Rook is in there with Mark McLaughlin, and then Mr. Federick is on the phone, and they said, you know what, we're going to go a different direction, and we're not going to pay you, and and I had already seen an attorney before I made the move to move Kevin Federick off the roster. I talked to my attorney and made sure that if I fired me, I would, it was that I'm not breaking any things in my contract. But yeah, that happened day before Christmas. So my mom left Los Angeles, come visit myself, my wife, and the kids. And by the time she landed, when she left, I had a job. By the time she landed, I did not have a job. So he got me in the end. But that's an owner. They can do what they want.
I'm glad you can laugh about it. We all have our scars. We all have our wounds. Jim, thank you for this. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you next week.
Can't wait.
The CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. Sports update next. Whatever you all would like to talk about on a viewer takeover. A couple segments to take us to the top of the hour on a Football Friday here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Football Friday. I got a lot of stuff to get to here with you. It's been quite a week, hasn't it? By the way, Moose isn't going to be with us next week either. I'll be doing Monday's show from Chicago. I have no idea what's happening on Tuesday. Don't tell me now, Clark. You guys, I'm sure, have it all sorted out. And then I'll be back in Florida Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and for the rest of the winter. At least that's the plan. I'll get to that sports update in a second. A real dog's breakfast in the text line, 902-518-3033. A little bit of everything in there. Regarding the CFL schedule coming out, John Kirby in Edmonton, who likes to make a mountain out of a molehill. He's not the only one that likes to do that. He's just does it the most. He says Elks fans are complaining about Thursday night home games. How do I feel about that? Rose is watching. She is in, I think, Sherwood Park. Like I said, I'm having a little bit of issues with the text line. It's working, but not 100%. Rose says, I'm not bitching about Thursday night to open the season. It's summer, and it'll be light out until midnight. Who cares? Yeah, John, so get over yourself. Going to Chicago, yes. Right after the show. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, the United Center's in a rough part of town. Been to the old Chicago Stadium many times in the past, which was across the street from the United Center. Even Wendell Clark was nervous his first time there. So what are we going to do? Not go? You ever been around Taylor Field? Here's one for you. My dream was to always open a restaurant. And I did. I actually wanted it to be a Hooters. How about this? The guy that owns the Hooters in Winnipeg, or at least at the time, this was 25 years ago, I met with him in Winnipeg, and I said, I'd like to open a Hooters in Regina, and I'd like it. He said, well, that's cool. We can sell you the franchise fee and get you going on that. He goes, where would you like it? I said, I think it'd be perfect. Right between Taylor Field and the Agrodome, right in there. That's where that's where the sports happens. He goes, well, I'll come to Regina and have a look. He did. He's like, no. I know rough areas of town, bro. Not saying we'll be fine, but what I'm saying is there's going to be 19,000 people going. I'm not going to be looking for trouble. Here's today's life tip. If you're not looking for trouble, you usually don't find it. You're welcome. Freddie writes in from Winnipeg. Started watching NFL football because of a little boyhood crush on Phyllis George and then Jane Kennedy. Happy Football Friday. Great show again. Signed, Freddie in Winnipeg. Google's Phyllis George. Oh. She was on television. I got you. She was a sideline reporter? How about that?
How about that?
You're showing your age, Freddie. Phyllis Ann George was an American businesswoman, actress, and sportscaster. In 1975, George was hired as a reporter and co-host of the CBS Sports pre-show, The NFL Today. Well, I'll tell you something. She must have put up with a lot of crap in her day because my lovely and talented wife, Serena, was the very first ever major junior hockey female play-by-play commentator in Canada, the very first, but she got out of it because she was treated so crappily by the guys. She was not worth it, not fun. This Phyllis, 20, 30 years before that, I can't imagine what she put up with. Good for her. What else you got, everybody? 902-518-3033. Ay. Mike Wynn in Winnipeg at Ice Time Sports says, Chrissy Snow was hot. First crush. Well, Suzanne Summers, we addressed that yesterday. Here's the thing. For me, you like blondes, you like brunettes, maybe you like redheads. Daisy Duke transcended it all. Again, when you're getting a pair of cut-off jeans style named after you, that's legendary. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes it and says, who remembers Jack's Bistro? That was the restaurant opened by Jack Tripper in Three's Company. Oh, yeah, big fan. Mark in Melfort writes in and he says, free agent John Klingberg has signed with the Oilers. Well, let's give him the Stanley Cup. What have they won now? 5, 6 in a row? Paul in Humboldt writes in, Humboldt Sask, says, Clark, are you going to guest host on Tuesday? We don't even know where Clark is. Oh, he's back. Oh, don't act like I should be shocked. You were gone earlier when I was asking for you. Sure. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, the whole childhood crush topic has shown that Clark, Moose, and I are babies, as far as this audience is concerned. Makes us feel young. At least I do, kind of. Feel however you want to feel. I'm really happy with the bracket that I'm in. Here's the only problem. If the Barker family's still watching, I see John Barker, Jim's brother, wrote in. He says, Federic was a piece of work. Crazy times in the CFL. Federic fired Jim Barker because Jim cut his kid. Here's the problem. I'm not 68. I'm 52. If I could put my feet up and be on television like Jim, well, I guess I am on television, but you know what I mean. I'd rather just put it in neutral and just glide down the hill and no. Been doing it since I was 16, and I just can't work for a goof like Michael Federic or the goofs that I've worked for. I just can't do it. And I won't do it. And that's why I'm sitting here. The ones that I've worked for have just completely zapped me of any interest in doing it for anybody, or at least for them, like them. Jerry Jones, I just couldn't do it. Craig Campbell from the Hockey Hall of Fame writes, and he says, Tatum O'Neal from the Bad News Bears movie. Yeah, she was cute. I like the way you think, Craig. I like the cut of your jib. I might add, guys, Craig texted me the other day from the Hockey Hall of Fame. There is a Les Lazaruk bobblehead has been donated to the Hockey Hall of Fame archives. A Les Lazaruk bobblehead is in the Hockey Hall of Fame. As Craig pointed out, archives, I'm like, same thing to me. We'll take a break in a second. Rob is watching in Vegas. Rob Campbell, he writes in, he says, nice to see assistant coach Jessica Campbell on the Kraken bench last night against the Jets. First female coach at the NHL level. Absolutely. From, is it Esther Hazy? Rokenville, Sask. That's where she's from. I hope that she helps get the Kraken into the playoffs, because the one thing that I've noticed about the Kraken, they're big on political statements, being the first to do this and the first to do that, not that big on winning. Usually you can't have both. Okay, we'll be back with the final segment, Overtime, right after this. We are live on Game Plus TV. Streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, it's OT. We're going to cover it all and put a bow on it and say sayonara until Monday. But I will tell you that Overtime Hockey Lanes brings you the overtime segment. They have for a few years now, and we love them. They're in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. Randy and Michelle run it. It's a family-run business. It's an amusement park for hockey players. I get tingles thinking about the next time that I go. And if you're looking to perfect your shot, the perfect place to go is Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They got top-notch equipment, state-of-the-art equipment, radar guns, puck shooting machines. Just take my word for it. Plus a licensed bar and restaurant. A lot of great food there and snacks. It's an amusement park for hockey players. What more do you need to know? You can actually check them all out at overtimehl.ca too, by the way, if you don't want to take my word for it. Hey, T from the 203. He says, what up, Rod? Checking in from Deerfield Beach, Florida. What up, T from the 203? Is this Thad? Come on, T from the 203. Tell me something good. Shai writes in and he says, great show, Rod. I'm heading to Puerto Vallarta for a conference. Listen, folks, write in with some interesting comments and I'll keep reading them. Otherwise, I'm going to go over to the sports update. Oh, we got fat shaming going on in the comments. I'm not here for that. John Barker writes in, that's Jim's brother. He says, I'm like you, Rod. I can't work for anyone I don't respect. So I ended up self-employed for 90% of my life. Bro, say less. That's a Florida term for say no more. Just so you know, I'm not saying don't talk. Because I know you're up there in the Pacific Northwest, and it takes a couple of years for the trends to get up there. From Florida. Yeah. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, great stuff as always, Rod. Be well. Back in 2 weeks. Where are you going? Did I approve it? Hey, Trevor. He says, nah, it's Trevor H. We met at the Flyers-Panthers game back in November. Bro, do you mind if I divulge your last name? Because it's... Well, you know that you share the name with a famous Canadian football player. T from the 203, Deerfield Beach, Florida. He says, I still say no more down here in Florida. Say no more. And the locals hate it, LOL. I still say no more. Oh, Trevor Harris. His name is Trevor Harris, everybody.
How about that?
But it's not the quarterback. I can sit here and confidently tell you they're both great guys, by the way. I know them both personally. This Trevor Harris is a producer at WQAM, 560 AM, Miami's #1 all-sports radio station. And by the way, that's saying something because I've counted, I think, 5. A couple of all-sports radio stations have sprung up on my dial that I didn't even know were there. 1230 The Gambler, up where I'm at in Palm Beach County. And 105.3 ESPN West Palm. I could sit and talk about this forever. Anyways, Trevor Harris, thanks for watching. Both great guys. Here's your sports update. Milwaukee fans could listen to Bob Uecker broadcast Brewers games for over a half century. Uecker, the voice of his hometown Brewers, passed away on Wednesday. He was 90. He showed off his play-by-play skills and comedic talent for more of a national audience when he appeared in the 1989 classic Major League as Cleveland announcer Harry Doyle. I'm just reading what was in the sports update because the plaudits have been rolling in unbelievable for Bob Uecker. Wake up, Clark. Were you just yawning into the microphone? Are we boring you? Notre Dame and Ohio State fans have had to endure unprecedented travel demands through college football's first 12-team playoff to reach Monday night's national championship game. It would have been reasonable to worry that the prolonged postseason would have exhausted fans' spending money before the final cost of reaching the championship game in Atlanta. Instead, the first 12-team playoff has only fed ticket prices for the sellout. Ticket resale sites report prices start at about $1,800 and average as much as $2,500 for Monday night's championship game. OSU Notre Dame. And as Jim Barker said when he was with us, this country is going bonkers about it. You would not understand in Canada. It's pretty cool, actually. Take care, everybody. See you Monday.
Let's make some noise.